The jungle is a world older than any story humans have ever written, a place where survival is crafted in silence, where every leaf, every shadow, every breath carries a secret that has existed for thousands of years. Deep inside this mysterious and untouched universe lies a truth that most people have never questioned, a truth wrapped in legends, shaped by instinct, and guarded fiercely by the creatures who call this ancient kingdom their home. For centuries, people have repeated one belief with unshakable confidence, the belief that the lion is the king of the jungle, but what if the world has been wrong all along? Before we go further, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss incredible stories and deep mysteries of the natural world like this one, because today's story will completely change the way you think about power, dominance, and the real ruler of the wild. Our journey begins where sunlight struggles to touch the soil, where the forest canopy is so dense that even the sky becomes a rumor. This is the heart of Central Africa's rainforest, one of the last places on Earth where nature rules without interference, without mercy, and without apology. Here, every creature lives according to the oldest laws of life: hunt or be hunted, hide or be found, survive or be forgotten. And it is here, not on the African savanna, that the real king of the wild exists. 5 wildlife researchers entered this dense forest, determined to uncover something extraordinary. They had spent months listening to local legends about a creature the villagers called the shadow that watches. Some claimed it moved through the trees without making a sound. Others said it followed travelers silently, judging them before deciding whether they should live or die. But the strangest part of all was that many villagers insisted they had seen this creature and lived to tell the tale, not because it spared them out of mercy, but because it simply chose not to strike. At first, the researchers laughed at these stories, treating them as just another set of local myths. But one of them, Elias, knew there was something real behind the whispers. His motion-triggered audio sensors, placed deep in the jungle, had recorded strange vibrations, frequencies too low and too controlled to be wind or insects. Elias believed something was out there, something powerful, something intelligent. And so, on a humid night, when fog wrapped around the trees like a living creature, the team stepped deeper into the forest. The jungle was unusually silent. Even the insects, the constant heartbeat of any tropical forest, had stopped singing. The deeper they walked, the stronger the feeling grew that they were being watched. Their flashlights sliced through the darkness, illuminating twisted roots and ancient trunks that looked like the ribs of the earth itself. Suddenly a soft rustle echoed from above, not loud, not violent, just enough to send a shiver through every spine. They raised their lights toward the treetops, and that's when they saw him. Perched high on a thick branch, muscles coiled like living steel, golden eyes glowing through the mist, sat a massive leopard, larger than any documented in the area, with scars that looked like claw marks from battles only the jungle witnessed. He didn't move. He didn't growl. He didn't roar. He simply watched them, silent, still, sovereign. At that moment, Elias understood something that shattered everything he had ever believed about predators. Lions roar to show dominance. Tigers growl to warn enemies. But the animal before them didn't need noise. His silence was enough. His presence alone bent the jungle around him. They lowered their flashlights instinctively, not because they were scared, but because they felt something they never expected: respect. And then, just as suddenly as he had appeared, the leopard vanished. No sound, no broken branch, gone, as if he had melted into the darkness. For the next 3 days, the team stayed in the forest, and the more clues they found, the more they realized that the jungle revolved around this silent ruler. They saw monkey troops changing their sleeping areas out of fear. They watched antelope tracks veer sharply away from certain paths. Even enormous forest buffalo avoided regions marked by his scent. The leopard did not rule by force alone. He ruled by presence. He ruled by mystery. Leopards are the only big cats that dominate every level of the wild. On the ground, they are swift and powerful. In the trees, they are ghosts. In the water, they are fearless. They don't need a pride. They don't need a pack. They don't need help. They are one animal armies capable of surviving anywhere, hunting anything, and disappearing instantly. One afternoon, the team discovered something incredible: an entire antelope carcass placed high between thick branches, nearly 15 feet above the ground. Only a leopard could do that, but this one had done it with such precision that even Elias felt a chill run through him. The carcass wasn't just stored, it was displayed, almost like a message. I take what I want. No one else may touch it. That evening, villagers shared a belief passed down through generations. The true king of the jungle does not roar, he watches. He does not chase, he decides. And he does not kill for dominance, he kills for survival. Elias did not believe this fully until their final night in the jungle. As they sat around a small fire, the forest breathing quietly around them, a familiar presence returned. Two glowing eyes appeared beyond the trees. The leopard stepped into the firelight, calm, controlled, utterly unchallenged. He walked within a few feet of Elias, his gaze deep and ancient. Elias froze. Not from fear, but from awe. The leopard tilted his head slightly as if studying him, and then, in the softest, most unexpected gesture, he blinked slowly, a sign of peace among big cats. Then he turned and walked away, his steps silent, his figure dissolving into the night. Elias wrote in his journal, "Tonight I met the real king of the wild." He did not roar, he judged. In the days that followed their final encounter, the researchers found themselves unable to speak of anything except the leopard, the silent ruler whose presence had changed everything they thought they knew about the animal kingdom. They had come to the jungle expecting to document behavior, collect data, and return with scientific observations, but instead they had witnessed something far greater: the living embodiment of dominance without noise, authority without arrogance, and power without performance. Every night, as the jungle wrapped itself in darkness, Elias replayed the moment when the leopard blinked at him, a gesture so small yet so profound that it felt like an invitation into a world humans rarely understand. The more the team observed, the more they realized that the leopard's power wasn't in the strength of his bite or the sharpness of his claws. It lay in his ability to shape the behavior of every creature around him without ever being seen. He didn't patrol his territory like a tyrant. He existed within it like a shadow woven into the fabric of the forest. His rule was quiet but absolute, and that is when Elias understood something deeper. Humans had crowned the wrong king for centuries. Books, movies, and myths had praised the lion, calling him the king of the jungle, even though lions don't even live in jungles. But the creature before them, the one who walked through silence and commanded the trees, the land, and the shadows, was the true ruler. To understand him fully, the researchers continued exploring deeper parts of the rainforest. They documented claw marks on trees higher than any leopard could reach without extraordinary strength. They found half-eaten remains of prey, placed in strategic positions, not just to hide from scavengers, but to signal territory. They discovered claw imprints that seemed older than the trees themselves, and they followed faint trails of crushed leaves that hinted at a massive creature moving through the forest with impossible stealth. Some nights they heard sounds, soft thuds, distant rustles, and low rhythmic vibrations that didn't match any known forest animal. Elias began to suspect that the leopard wasn't just an apex predator. He was a symbol, a legend, perhaps even a guardian of the balance within this rainforest. The villagers had hinted at this, saying, "When the king walks, the forest listens." Elias didn't understand it at first, but soon the meaning became clear. One morning, after a night heavy with rain, the team discovered fresh leopard tracks near their camp. Tracks that circled the tents carefully, almost thoughtfully, but never disturbed anything. It was as if the king had come to check on them, not out of threat, but out of curiosity. That same morning, they followed fresh footprints and found an enormous python basking on a rock. It hissed, coiling defensively. Pythons rarely fear anything, but this one wasn't reacting to the humans. It was reacting to something else, something that had passed through minutes earlier. Its wide black eyes were locked on a direction deep within the jungle. the same direction the leopard's tracks pointed. Even the python knew who ruled here. For the next several hours, the team walked quietly, following the trail until they saw something breathtaking, a young forest buffalo, a massive, muscular creature, kneeling, trembling, eyes wide with fear, not injured, not hunted, simply paralyzed with instinctive terror. Something had passed nearby, something it dared not challenge, something that didn't need to attack to assert dominance. When Elias examined the ground, he found deep prints, leopard prints, but unusually large, far larger than the average size recorded for leopards globally. They weren't fresh, yet the mere scent left behind had filled the buffalo with panic. Elias realized the leopard wasn't feared because he killed. He was feared because every animal knew he could kill them at any moment, without warning, without sound. That is the kind of power no roar can ever achieve. The team's mission was originally planned for 2 weeks, but by the 10th day, the jungle itself had consumed their sense of time. Day and night blended into one continuous lesson about ancient dominance and natural hierarchy. Every step they took revealed another truth about the Silent King, his intelligence, his precision, his mastery of terrain. They watched him hunt once from a distance. It happened without the slightest sound. One moment the forest floor was empty. The next, the leopard's body emerged from the shadows like a spirit, made of smoke and muscle. He struck with speed so controlled that the prey, a medium-sized antelope, didn't realize what had happened until it was already collapsing. The kill was clean, fast, merciful, no wasted movement, no unnecessary suffering. And then, in an unforgettable display, the leopard dragged the entire carcass up a near vertical tree trunk, muscles rippling like liquid steel. The researchers stood frozen. This wasn't just strength. This was monarchy in motion. But the story did not end with a hunt. It ended with something far more extraordinary, something that would reshape Elias's understanding of the wild forever. On their final night, the forest seemed unusually alive. The wind whispered through the leaves like a warning. The insects chirped in rhythms that felt purposeful. Even the moon looked dimmer, as if stepping aside to let the real ruler take the stage. That night, as they prepared to leave the next morning, Elias heard footsteps, slow, measured, confident. He turned, and there he was, the leopard, standing at the edge of their camp. But this time, he wasn't alone. Behind him, 2 glowing sets of eyes appeared, a female leopard and a nearly grown cub, both watching silently, both recognizing Elias and the team as visitors who had respected the forest. The male leopard stepped forward, not aggressively, but with the composure of a king acknowledging guests before their departure. He blinked slowly again, the same gesture of peace and recognition that had changed Elias's heart days earlier. Then something unexpected happened, something no one on the team would ever forget. The female leopard walked toward the male, pressing her head gently against his shoulder. The cub moved closer, mimicking the gesture, and for a moment the jungle revealed something even the researchers weren't prepared for. The king wasn't just a ruler, he was a protector, a guardian of his family, a silent watchman of the forest's balance. The team stood motionless as the leopard family disappeared into the trees, moving without a single sound, vanishing like legends do. And in that moment, Elias realized the greatest truth of all. The jungle does not choose its king based on who roars the loudest. It chooses based on who keeps the balance, on who survives the longest, on who understands the forest as an extension of their own soul. When Elias and the team finally left the rainforest at sunrise, the light breaking through the canopy felt different, almost like a blessing, almost like a farewell from the unseen kingdom they had briefly entered. And as their boat drifted away from the forest edge, Elias wrote the final line of his journal, a line that would become the heart of their documentary. A roar may echo across the savannah, but a shadow can command an entire world without making a sound. That is why the true king of the jungle is the one who rules quietly, watches endlessly, and disappears completely. Because real power does not seek attention. Real power writes its legacy in silence.